There's little doubt Her Majesty the Queen was not amused watching her grandson and his Hollywood wife embarrass the rest of the royal family in their recent tell-all interview. The question is whether the senior royals needed to be shamed for them to fully understand what was being said. In this private family squabble that's being played out so very, very publicly, there are clear battle lines. On the one side, Harry and Meghan supporters who laud the couple's every move to be inclusive and modern. And on the other, the firm belief there's no need at all to soften the royals' stiff upper lips.
It was nuclear, it was Armageddon.
Right now, I could not feel lonelier.
She brought out her acting ability there. That was very good.
There was very little that I was allowed to do. And so, yeah, of course that breeds loneliness when you've come from freedom.
In the weeks since the Duke and Duchess of Sussex took a wrecking ball to the royal family,
my family literally cut me off financially.
we've all braced to watch it crumble.
Tonight, Harry and Meghan unleash hell.
Shocking, powerful and deeply personal.
The whole thing is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah,
2.5 million
opening
people
up,
have died in a global pandemic in the last year, and we've got to listen to these two.
The royal family hasn't necessarily responded to this interview.
They've always gone for the tactic of never explain, never complain.
What I was seeing was history repeating itself.
Prince Harry, despair, declared his father and brother, the heirs, were stuck inside the institution they were all born to serve.
They are trapped. They don't get to leave.
His wife Meghan admitted she had no idea what she was signing up for.
I grew up in LA. You see celebrities all the time. This is not the same.
Or how destructive it would become.
I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Perhaps most shocking were their allegations of racism.
In those months when I was pregnant, concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Who is having that conversation with you?
Have you ever experienced racism from the royal family?
No, not whatsoever. The royal family is not racist. Certainly, I'll tell you, in our Eastern culture, in Southeast Asian culture, it's quite normal for people to ask what colour, if the mother and father are slightly one fair, one darker. It's obvious. It's quite a natural thing to say. Oh, what colour? Curiosity, human curiosity.
Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam.
Dr. Musharraf Hussain has devoted his life to his faith and sharing it with others. But framed in his office is a sign of his service to another power, his Order of the British Empire, awarded by the Queen.
You know, the Queen asked, "What have you been doing?" And I said, you know, I've been busy creating positive relationships between the Muslims and the wider society. And she was very pleased with that.
For 10 years, Dr. Hussain has represented Her Majesty as a Deputy Lord Lieutenant. He even joined Prince Charles's tour of Indonesia in 2008.
Life is not a bed of roses. If anybody thinks of it like that, they are fooled.
His decision to watch the Oprah interview and now speak publicly about it won't be easily forgiven by some members of his Islamic community.
I knew I was committing a huge sin, actually. Listening to gossips is in itself sinful, but I had to do it, otherwise I couldn't make comments later on to my community and teach them the lessons about it. So I had to sadly commit that sin of watching that gossip.
You didn't have a drop-off in your congregation, did you?
Oh, I did, sadly. There were people who were very, very annoyed, yes.
Really?
Yes, and one of my members actually left. Seriously, yes. He said, you shouldn't have spoken out.
So many people applauded Harry and Meghan for being so brave, for talking about these issues. You don't see it that way?
The very opposite, in fact. When a family breaks up, it's not a good thing. There's no winners and losers here, to be honest. Everybody's a loser. We're poorer. All of us are poorer.
That's not the only thing irritating people about Meghan's tell-all interview. Valentine Lowe is a seasoned royal correspondent at the Times newspaper in London. He knows just how upset it's left those inside the royal household.
I've spoken to people within the palace who said, actually, we went out of our way to try and make it work.
Their memories of Meghan's time as a working royal vary greatly from her own, including when it came to her dealings with sister-in-law Kate.
One is the Flower Girl incident and Kate, and who made who cry. There was a fitting for the bridesmaids' dresses. There was some kind of row between Meghan and Kate, and as far as I know, Kate left in tears. And apparently the next day, Kate went round to Nottingham Cottage, where Meghan lived with Harry, with flowers as a peace offering, and Meghan shut the door in her face. Certainly, all the accounts that I've heard involve Kate crying. Maybe Meghan cried too, who knows, maybe they both cried, but that smacked to me of score settling.
And then came a claim that left every royalist feeling cheated. Meghan confessed the wedding, watched by hundreds of millions around the world, was all for show.
3 days before our wedding, we got married. Just the two of us in our backyard with the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Is there any truth in that?
Yes and no. I mean, if she says they did something at home with the Archbishop of Canterbury, who would say that it didn't? But they did not get married 3 days before the public wedding. That was very easy to establish. They got the wedding certificate, and the date of the wedding, it was the day they got married in public, the 19th of May.
Why would she say that?
It seems to be a bit of one-upmanship. Look, we've managed to keep this secret. They're quite keen on keeping secrets from the public eye. They've been, look, we fooled you all.
I went to the institution and I said that I needed to go somewhere to get help.
Another secret Meghan had been keeping from the public was one she did share within the palace about her mental health.
And I was told that I couldn't, that it wouldn't be good for the institution.
She said she was feeling suicidal, and from my own contacts, I know that she was in a bad way for a period. But the idea that she wanted help and was somehow prevented from getting help is an extraordinary allegation, one I find quite hard to fathom. It's not been tested. We haven't really heard the other side, and the palace has probably quite sensibly not gone for a sort of tit for tat. She said this, no, that's not true tactic, which is, I think is the right thing to do.
While Meghan was desperate for help to improve her own well-being, Valentine says she was far less concerned about how her staff were coping. Just days before the Oprah interview was beamed to the world, the Duchess, a bully. Valentine obtained leaked emails from inside the palace claiming the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household. What is it that Meghan actually did that made her a bully?
You just have to know the effect of her behaviour on people. There was one situation when a member of her staff knew Meghan was displeased about something, and they knew they'd have to confront her. And this member of staff said, "I'm shaking. It's ridiculous. I can't stop shaking." And at another occasion, they said, "I feel sick." And if they are still psychologically damaged by it 2 years later, something bad has gone on.
Why would someone inside the palace take the extraordinary step of leaking those bullying allegations to you?
And they feel their story's not been told. They feel their voices have been silenced. And Meghan has talked about, giving voice to the voiceless before, but as someone in the palace said to me, what about the voiceless in your own team?
Meghan's team say your story was a smear campaign to discredit her ahead of the Oprah interview. Was it?
All I can say is we really did fact check everything there. We know that Meghan and Harry are very litigious, so we knew that if there was the slightest loophole in that story, they'd come after us. So we made it sure it was absolutely copper-bottomed. We stand by every single word.
And what about Harry? What hand do you think Harry plays in all this?
He wasn't a saint either.
Long before the Duke and Duchess of Sussex declared war on their own family, they were embedded in another conflict, which Harry says he's been fighting his whole life. An endless battle with the press.
Now, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have come out fighting, taking legal action against the Mail on Sunday, a British tabloid.
If they truly wanted a quiet life, they could have disappeared somewhere and led a very private life. But that's not what they want to do. They want to be friends with the rich and famous. They want to be on Netflix. They want to be on Spotify. They want to be public figures, but on their own terms.
Valentine Lowe is a veteran of the royal press pack. He insists the relationship between journalists and the palace is not as cosy as Meghan and Harry would have you believe.
If you as a family member are willing to wine, dine and give full access to these reporters, then you will get better press.
Is that true?
Absolutely not. Meghan referred in that interview to something called holiday parties for tabloids at the palace, and I have literally no idea what she's talking about.
You've never been wined and dined by the royals?
They once had a reception for the media in advance of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and you know, staterooms, you're there for an hour and a half and you have a glass of fizz and a canapé and exchange small talk with palace flunkies, or if you're lucky, a minor royal. But
does anyone dish the dirt?
I couldn't possibly say.
Come on.
But it's the idea that by sucking up to the tabloids, the royals get better coverage. I mean, it's a crazy idea. That it's simply not true.
Protection from the media isn't the only kind of cover Prince Harry craves for his wife and children. He fears their personal security is now at greater risk than ever.
Security's not there to sort of give them an ease of passage at airports and through traffic lights in busy streets throughout the world. It's there because there is a real danger to their life.
Ken Wolfe knows what it takes to keep royals safe. He was based here at Kensington Palace as a bodyguard for Princess Diana and her sons in the 1980s and 90s. The Scotland Yard inspector was known simply as Uncle Ken to young Prince Harry.
You know, I took him to school on many occasions and had driven him many, many times down to Highgrove and many other places. So he knows how we work. There has to be that relationship, that symbiotic relationship between the protector and the protectee. It's not something you can just turn up and deliver. It's more intelligent than that. And sadly, the expertise that he had and Meghan had and Archie had up until the point that they left the United Kingdom has gone. And we're relying upon now a security that is based in what I call La La Land and comes with it the sort of the La La Land protection. What they don't have access to is the classified information of intelligence that we did.
It's not just the Hollywood bodyguards that worry Ken. He also fears the Sussex's Californian mansion is an easy target.
You can Google it. I mean, somebody's actually put a drone above the premises so you know exactly what the sort of the layout and the configuration, so you know exactly where they are. That's exactly what a would-be assassin would determine.
Is there a real risk Archie could be kidnapped?
Yes, the risk is incredibly great.
Meghan told Oprah she struggled to accept her child would not be given a royal title, and the Scotland Yard protection she expected would be tied to it.
They didn't want him to be a prince, and he wasn't going to receive security.
But Ken says that's not true.
No one single member of the royal family, that sort of age, gets individual protection, because actually what happens, they become part of their parents' protection in the same way that William and Harry did with Diana and Charles. So actually Archie would have been protected as a member of the royal family. And with regards to the title, you know, already the Queen had bestowed upon him this title of the Earl of Dumbarton, whatever that means. But the whole point is, I just thought that was rather ill-conceived on Meghan's part, because actually what she was saying wasn't correct.
If there's one thing you'd hope Meghan and Harry got right, it's their decision to walk away from the palace. A choice that can't be undone easily, if at all. Do you think Harry and Meghan will ever return to the UK?
Not a chance. They've made their life over there. Their bridges are now ash. They won't be coming back.
Will they come back? My own gut reaction is I think he will. I hope it's with her, but I think that's doubtful.
So you think Harry could return to the UK alone?
Yeah, he's living a lifestyle now which is so alien to him. He isn't going to have the freedom that most people in LA are going to have. And I think he's going to find that difficult.
We just pray for him and Meghan, we just pray that they do come back.
Perhaps a divine intervention is what it would take to bring Harry back into the royal fold. For Dr. Musharraf Hussain, one of the Queen's Deputy Lord Lieutenants, that's not out of the question.
You know, there's a very beautiful story in the Gospels about the prodigal son. He does come back, and one hopes, we see that union once more.
Is Harry the prodigal son here?
Yes, he is. I think he is, yes. Yes.
If this story has raised any issues and you need to speak with someone, you can call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week.